Now, if you're struggling with self-sabotage and you don't know where to start, here, right here on this podcast, we're building the community. I want to remind you, breaking self-sabotage patterns takes time. You've been operating like this for years, every decade, like hours. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small wins. We're building the community of people committed to breaking these cycles. This is Alfonso Feld. I'm glad that you're here with me tonight. I noticed something. I don't know, my earphones. Okay. Running at the last minute trying to get things together for you guys. I apologize about that. Obviously, as you can see, Storm is not with me right now, and she will be here shortly. But I'm starting off the show solo, so appreciate you sticking with me for that. I am Alfonso Pelt, the creator and host of Terror to Triumph, where we talk about childhood trauma and how it affects us in our adult lives. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, you can see the little ticker tape there, and it's showing all the critical information that you need. If you have need of immediate assistance right now, you can call those numbers to receive the help that's available 24/7 nationwide. At the end of that ticker tape, there's also two websites. If you want to find a therapist that's good for you, might be a good fit, you can go on those websites and search for a therapist that does specialized childhood trauma therapy, PTSD, and the like. Well, I I do appreciate everybody joining tonight, and I have a few announcements for you guys before we even get started. We have guests, yes, guests, plural, more than one, that will be on the show. And it would be to your benefit to try to subscribe to Terror to Triumph on our Buzzsprout channel. That's www.terror to Triumph, all one word, .buzzsprout.com. Go there and subscribe. It's only $10 a month. And that $10 goes a long way considering the advice and information that we provide on the show. Also, in case you haven't caught wind of it, we had opened up a new slot. We're not just doing Tuesdays and Saturdays anymore. We're also doing Wednesdays, all at the same time, 9:30 p.m. So you can catch Terror to Triumph 3 times a week now. As mentioned before, we have our specials, we have our series, all on that platform. So if you want to catch us, you can do so there. Oh, there she is. Introducing our beautiful co-host Storm. Hey Storm, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, so now I don't need this big old circle in the middle. I'm gonna get this on out the way. Boom. So Do you hear any echo? We didn't get a chance
No,
to do our pre-checks, but do you hear any echo? Okay,
no.
cool. All right. So I was just telling our guests and our viewers that we are starting to have guests on the show.
Yes.
I'm gonna do this. I haven't tried this feature before, but I'm gonna throw it up here right now. Boop. Let's see if it works.
Yes.
Yay! Yep, that's our ad for our first guest, Heather Ann Ferry. She's a spiritual practitioner, and she helps with people who delve in childhood trauma on a more holistic level. And we will be having her as a guest on the show on the 25th of this month. So if you
Yes.
guys want to come and get this information and stay tuned to our station for further updates concerning all guests that's coming on the show. So Miss Heather Ann Ferry will be here. Yay! Our first guest, y'all. Dare to triumph. We stretching out. We trying to do new things to help you recover and have the life that you were meant to have. Okay. So now with that out the way, how you doing tonight, Storm? Is everything all right?
Yes.
Okay. Wanted to let you know, Miss Storm, that I changed the format on our show's information a little bit, so you have a little bit more dialogue tonight. So I just want you to be aware of that before we get into it, because I know we both were running to the last minute trying to get set up for tonight's show, and I apologize to our listeners for that. But those are the announcements, and we're going to continue. So right now, just throwing it out there, we're going to be talking about something that intersects abuse and survival. We're talking about racial trauma tonight. Okay. If you grew up as a person of color, you didn't just survive abuse, you survived racism. You survived microaggressions. You survived a world that told you you were less than. Storm, over to you.
And and when you add abuse on top of that, it compounds and it deepens, it changes everything. Today we're naming that intersection and we're talking about healing from both. Let's go.
All right. So, racial trauma is the cumulative impact of experiencing racism. Okay. It's not just one incident, right? It's a lifetime of messages that you're less than. You're not safe. Your body is a threat to someone else. When you grow up as a person of color, your nervous system is activated by racism. It learns. And when you experience childhood abuse, you're learning two messages at once. My family isn't safe, and the world isn't safe. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, nowhere to be safe. Storm.
What is racism trauma? Let's talk about what trauma actually looks like. Microaggressions, they're small. Those small, constant comments that wear you down. Where are you really from? You're so articulate. I don't see color. You're pretty for a black girl. Your hair is so exotic. Assumptions about your intelligence, your capability, your background, being mistaken for another person of color, being the only one in the room, and being hyper vigilant. There are big moments, but they add up. They accumulate and they'll teach your nervous system you don't belong here.
Mm. There's overt racism, the slurs, being told to go back to your own country. That's a lot in that statement by itself. But discrimination in school, work, housing, being profiled by police, being followed in stores, being denied opportunities because of your race, witnessing violence against people who look like you, and systemic racism, the structures that were built to keep you down, underfunded schools in communities of color, lack of access to health care, over policing, mass incarceration, wealth gaps, housing discrimination, environmental racism. It's not just personal, it's structural. It was created to be that way, and it's everywhere. Storm?
And there's intergeneration racial trauma. Your parents experience trauma, racism. Your grandparents experience racism. Their trauma was passed down to you. You inherit their fear, their hypervigilant, their survival strategies. You carry the weight of their survival. And sometimes your
Mm,
parents' trauma from racism made them more abusive. They were harsh with you to prepare you for the racist world. They taught you to be less black, less brown. They emphasized respectable politics. You were trying to survive both your family trauma and the world racism. Back to you,
mm.
Alfonso.
When you experience both child, oh, thank you. When you experience both childhood abuse and racism, they compound each other. Your abuser might use racial slurs. They might tell you that your race is why you're being abused. They might tell you that nobody will believe you because of your race. The world might not protect you because of your race. Authorities might not take your abuse seriously. People might minimize your experience or experiences, plural, because of racial stereotypes. You learn I'm not safe at home, I'm not safe in the world, and I'm not safe because of who I am. Back to you, Storm.
If you're a child of color experiencing abuse, you can escape to the outside world. It's not safe either. You can't trust authority figures because they might not protect you because of your race. You can't rely on the community because systematic racism affects your community too. You learn that your race makes you vulnerable. You learn that your body is not safe. You learn that the world is hostile. And that changes everything about how you move through the world as an adult.
Mm. Children of color often develop hypervigilance as a survival strategy. You learn to read the room, anticipate danger, to code switch, to make yourself smaller. When you add childhood trauma on top of that, your hypervigilance intensifies. Your nervous system is always activated. You're always scanning for danger. As an adult, you might be unable to relax. You get startled easily. You have anxiety. You might be exhausted from constant vigilance. You have difficulty sleeping, or you might have physical tension. To use Storm?
When you experience racism, you might internalize it. You might start to believe the message. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe I'm not smart. Maybe I don't deserve good things. Maybe my race is the problem. If you also experience childhood abuse, you may blame your race for the abuse. You may think if I was white, I would have been protected. That that internalized racism, and it wound that needs healing. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Storm. Healing from trauma, from racism and childhood abuse is about reclaiming your safety, your identity, and your right to exist. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is you have to name both traumas. Don't minimize either one, right? I experienced childhood abuse. I experienced racism. Or you could say I experienced both and they compounded each other. Actually, I can raise my hand to that. That has happened to me, both of them. So naming both is essential and you can't heal what you won't name. Back over to you, Storm.
Step two, understand how to intercept. How did your race affect your abuse? How did your abuse affect your experience of racism? Be specific, be honest. Grieve both losses. Your lost safety at home, your lost safety in the world, your lost ability to trust, your culture as a
Mm.
source of pride. That's a lot to grieve, and it deserves space. Okay, back to you, Alfonso.
Thank you. Step four, reclaim your culture. This is healing work. Reclaiming your culture as a source of pride, connection, and strength. Learn about your history, not the sanitized version, if you know what I mean. I feel like I need to explain that. Sanitized means the version of your history that has been shown to you, but not the part that is crucial to who you are. So, about our people, about where we came from, about our true history. We were taught in schools that, we lived in huts and mud huts and all this other stuff, but they didn't really want to teach us about the part that we taught Western civilization. They didn't know about cleanliness. They didn't know about aqueducts before we taught them. That's the sanitation I'm talking about. When we are taught that all the bad stuff that happened to us, yeah, you're less than, we owned you and all this kind of stuff. But we weren't taught that our civilizations were destroyed because they feared us. We weren't taught these things. So, not the sanitized version. You have to do research for yourself to find out the truth. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. That is the real version, the powerful version about who you really are. You have to connect with your culture through food, music, art,
Music.
language, community, spirituality. Try to talk to somebody from the culture that you're from. Try to resonate with them. Try to get an understanding because there's a divide from the sanitized version of the history that we're taught. We're taught to separate from where we're from our origins, from the people. So we have to try to reconnect. Don't listen to the rhetoric. Don't listen to the fluff. Actually find you somebody and talk to them to get their perspective, to get their understanding. And don't just stop at one person. Go to many people because that is the truth unveiling itself. Okay, moving forward. So your culture is not the problem, racism is. And reclaiming your culture is an act of resistance and healing. Back to you, Storm.
Step five, find community. Find people who understand, who lived this, who get the intersection of abuse and racism. Community is healing. It says you're not
Mm,
alone. You're not crazy. Your experience is real. Regulate your nervous system. Your nervous system learned that you're not safe. You need to teach it that you are. Symptomatic practices help grounding
Mm-hmm.
techniques, breathe work, movement, time in nature, connection, and community, cultural practices. Okay, back over to you, Al.
Did I just remove myself? I certainly did. There we go. I'm trying to learn how to do everything on the fly, y'all. Like I said, we are
I
live, so
can't hear
any
you.
bloopers, you will catch that as we go. You can't hear me right now? Hold on. Let me do something. Hey, Storm, can you hear me now? Okay, Storm, can you hear me now?
Okay, we're having technical difficulties at this time, and we're trying to work them out.
Hear me now.
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's the backup. All right, so sometimes we do have technical difficulties, and from the setup that I have, sometimes the audio goes out, and I don't understand that. Not terribly familiar with the technical side of this, but I have found a workaround, as you can see. So we are moving forward. And thank you, Storm, for turning it over to me. Step 7, we have to channel, I'm sorry, we have to challenge. Why was I having a problem with that? We have to challenge internalized racism. You might have internalized racist messages. You might believe things about yourself that aren't true. Challenge those beliefs, okay? Question them. Replace them with truth. Say, I am worthy. I'm worthy of the things that I want, desire, and need. I'm worthy of living a better life. I'm worthy of having beautiful relationships. I'm worthy of living as I should live without fear, without shame, without disconnect from my people, my spirituality, my culture. My race is beautiful. You could say, I deserve safety. I deserve good things, and my existence is not a threat. Okay, over to you, Storm.
Step 8, heal your relationship with your body. If you experienced abuse and racism, your body may feel like a threat, like a liability. Reclaim your body. Practice moving in ways that feel good. Touching yourself with kindness. Wearing what makes you feel good. Taking up space. Celebrating your body. Your body is not a threat, your body is home. Back to you, Alfonso.
They're testing the waters. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I see what I have to do now. Okay, so thank you for doing step 8, Storm. I appreciate you for that. Step 9 is building safety in your present. Create environments and relationships where you feel safe, where your race is celebrated, where your trauma is honored. Surround yourself with people who see you, who protect you, and who celebrate you. Step 10, practice resistance and resilience. Healing from racial trauma and abuse, actually, is an act of resistance. It's saying, I'm not going to let this define me. I will not let this break me. You are resilient. You are strong. And you are worthy. Over to you, Storm.
Your survival is resilience. Your your resistance, your healing is resistance. Your joy is resistance. The truth. You survived childhood trauma, childhood abuse. You survived racism. You survived both. That makes you powerful. That makes you resilient. That makes you a warrior. And now you get to heal. You get to reclaim your safety. You get to reclaim your culture. You get to reclaim your life.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Storm, do you have any questions that you want to ask out of this?
What racism trauma are you still carrying? I can't hear you, Alfonso. I can't hear you.
Okay, we'll do it like this. Can you hear me now?
I'm still not able to hear you.
Oh, wow. Should How about now? Can you hear me now?
Well, once again, everybody, we're having, technical difficulties. So, um,
Okay. Can you hear me now? Still no. This is interesting. Let's see. Let me remove this. Can you hear me now? Now? Still no. Wow.
yeah, everybody, we're still having technical difficulties, but he'll be done fix them. Alfonso will fix them pretty soon. Just bear with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for bearing with me.
Okay, well, we asked questions about racism and how did it affect you and everything, because I know that racism have affected me in many different ways. I remember being downtown one day and I was stopped by an officer, and I know that I looked like a full-fledged woman. And I was told to, get my ID. Present, my ID or driving license, and I did. I was told to hold my hands up in the air and don't move. And while the officer run my ID. And he kept my ID for a long time, and my hand stayed in the air for a long time, people. It was really, like hurting at that time because it's like I know I had not did anything. I know I didn't have no violations. I didn't have no warrants. I was clean. But when the officer gave me back my ID, the only excuse he could tell me was that he thought I looked like some man. And I'm like, I look like a full-fledged woman. I had on a full face of makeup. I had on, pink and purple, it was just all kind of stuff. So I feel like, it was very discriminating, very racial, profile. And I didn't like it at all. And that would be just the beginning of, you know, officers stopping me and profiling me. And, it had many other opportunities that things have happened. And I didn't like it, everyone. So it's not easy when you're racially profiled, and plus you're only not dealing with the racial profile, but you're dealing with abuse. And so you're carrying all these things, and you want to make sure that your body, that you take care of your body, and you always take care of your body. So I see we're back.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you with an echo.
Okay, how's the echo now?
Okay, you good?
So, okay, so I had to do a little reset there. But I don't know why, but the software would not allow me to use my mic. Once it went out, I had to come out of the studio and come back. So, to answer your question about racism, what do I carry with me today? I was stating that I carry still fear with me. And that fear derived from early childhood. I was in the seventh grade. I was coming home from school. It was one of those situations where my dad was more than an hour late picking me up from school due to his issues. We're not going to get off into that. That's a whole nother situation. But regardless, and suffice it to say that dad wasn't on time and nowhere near it. It was getting dark, and I said, I better start walking. We were about 7 miles away from where we lived, where I went to school at. So I had to walk in the dark on the way home. And as I got near my residence, there was these three white guys in a car. They sped around the corner. They started throwing bottles out at me out the car. And they were yelling racial slurs. They were calling me the N word, all that kind of stuff. They didn't stop though. I was prepared to run. I only had to run like 3 blocks, but that was unnerving to me to another degree because you see movies that talk about lynching and all this other kind of stuff, and it felt like that was about to happen. And ever since that day, every time I see people of that nature, of that color, there's some sort of deep rooted reservation in me that will not allow me to pass a certain threshold with them as far as trust, as far as relaxing around them, as far as feeling safe around them, because I feel like they're all capable of doing these heinous things. Not to say that all of them are, but this is from my experiences. This is what has carried with me throughout life. And unfortunately enough, life has not been able to give me 100% reason to allay those fears. There's other things that also has happened. The discovery of my history as a African male has allowed me to see more of the destructive nature of those people, has allowed me to see the current state of the world and the continued destruction of these same people. So it still keeps me even further pushed back from trying to say, okay, we could be cool, we could be relaxed around these people. We can say, I can let my guard down. Nah, it's just totally opposite because of my experiences and what's going on in the world around me. When you see police brutality, when you see police murdering us in the streets and they're not held accountable, they get off and they're back to work. the next day. They lie. They tell stories about what the victim had, and they never do. The police cam has caught them in so many lies, even with ICE now, and you see how they're just killing people randomly, in the streets. So it's all these things are compounding constantly and not giving me a moment's pause to say, I want to say, I can trust you. I want to say that there can be a space where I can feel like I can relax around you. But with the current state of affairs that's going on in the world, my history, my past, my personal experiences, I can't say that. And that's being honest. That's 100% disclosure from me, my personal situation. So while I was trying to fix the technical difficulties, I did hear what you were saying about your personal experiences, Storm. And I do resonate with that. So I want you to know that you are not alone. Anybody out there that's in our shoes, you are not alone. We are collectively as a people going through this same thing. And it's not just African American people. Okay. ICE is targeting our brothers, Hispanic brothers, our Latino brothers. And it's ridiculous. It's all ridiculous how they're managing the entire situation. Okay. I'm not trying to get sidetracked because I know I can get sidetracked. I know I can get long winded. But when you think about how these things affect us, especially as trauma survivors, we already are hyper vigilant because of the trauma we receive. Then you got all this negative worldly atmosphere going on around you. So you even go outside, you feel a police car, you have some reservation, you feel a hair is raised up on the back of your neck because you don't know, is that going to be your moment? Is that going to be your time on TV? Is this going to be the last day of your life? Why do we have to think like this? Why do they put us in situations to think like that? But until the current status quo changes, we kind of have to be on our P's and Q's for our own safety, our own protection, because we're not going to be protected by the powers that be. It's sad to even say it like that, but this is the unmitigated truth. We live in a society where they are still lynching us. We live in a society where brothers are still being found hanged in trees. It's 2020 fucking six, y'all. Excuse my language, but it's 2026. We not living in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s. It's 2026. We in the digital age, and we still lynching. Really, we still out here hanging brothers in trees. We still out here got the KKK running strong. Our president is pushing that agenda. They're not trying to stop it. What's really going on? And how can you feel safe and comfortable in a society that's treating us like this? You can't. They're letting us know you cannot feel safe. We're coming for you. This is what they're telling us. This is what the daily digest is. We're coming for you. It doesn't matter if you're an American citizen. It doesn't matter if you're an illegal immigrant. It doesn't matter. I just watched something a couple days ago about immigration, as a matter of fact. And these brothers were talking about immigration. And the point came up where they talked about immigration and the law revolving around immigration. That immigration is not a federal criminal activity. I mean, being an illegal immigrant is not status where it's illegal. It's a civil type thing. It's not a felony. It's a misdemeanor to be an illegal immigrant, to come across the border without registering or done properly without documentation and things like that. It's not a felony. It's a misdemeanor. Do you deserve felony treatment for a misdemeanor? And that begs the question, the severity of ICE's actions regarding these people. So when you, as a survivor, it's like, do I even go outside? Sometimes you feel that way. Do I even step out this door? I wish I didn't have to step outside. I wish I could stay inside 24/7, get DoorDash, get Instacart, have food, groceries brought to my house, so I never had to leave. So I never had to step outside because of all these things that's going on in our world today. There's going to come a point in time, just like with our childhood trauma, where we have to face it. We have to face our childhood trauma. We have to deal with these inner demons, the way our mind works, and unlock our nervous system and readjust it. We have to do the same thing with our society. It's America's nervous system that's whacked out, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be fixed. No one's really fixing it. Everybody's talking about fixing it. No one's doing any actual work to fix it. Okay, with trauma, when you realize I got a problem, I see I'm doing things. I got patterns of things that I'm doing. It's pushing people away. I gotta fix it. Okay, so you already know there's a problem, right? You know you gotta fix it. You go seek help to fix it, right? Because you don't know how to fix it. So you go and find a therapist who's trained in your trauma situation to help you cope and learn how to retrain your nervous system so you won't have these problems anymore. To help you understand how your thinking process was created to protect you, and now you don't need it to do that anymore because now it's hindering you. So they're teaching you all these things. Okay, so if you're taught all this, but you don't go back home and do the work, you don't go back home and practice your breathing exercises, you don't write stuff down in your journal, you don't stop yourself when you're starting to have panic or an anxiety attack because your thought process start running because of your trigger. You don't try to calm yourself. You don't do anything, even though you go into all this stuff to talk about it. You don't do the work that you were told to do to try to help yourself. That's America right now. They got all the keys, they got all the knowledge, they got all the know-how, they got all the information as to how to make this thing better. They're not doing the work. There's no rubber meeting the road. It's just spinning tires in air. Oh, we need to do this. We need to do this. I need everybody to rally around me. Give me these donations so I can start this campaign so we can do this. But nothing's happening. So These two things, while I made the similarities to them, they are often quite realistic. They're not in reality metaphors, they're actual things. We don't have a chance to relax in our society. So, for survivors, our techniques to really try to practice everything that we learn to maintain ourselves, maintain our thought processes, maintain our sanity, maintain reactions to triggers, we have to practice that ceaselessly. We can't stop because anything could set us off at that point. We already, speaking for myself, we get angry quick. Excuse me. We get angry quick. And there's so many things right now out there to make us so frustrated. If we don't practice these steps, man, you're going to have a lot of people just blowing up. So, Storm, what do you think? And I mean, with our current society, how does that make you feel as a survivor in this high tension atmosphere that we living in America?
It's just you don't know from day to day what's going on. The YN is not taking it sitting down. So the YN is we're losing more of the YN because and for everybody that don't know, we're using more our youth because they, you know, they just they're not taking it laying down. So therefore they pushing back and this causes our children to be laid to rest early. So now when you doubt that
Mm,
your children's supposed to lay you to rest, you're actually laying your children to rest. Or the grandparents, if they're living and they're taking care of, the grandchildren because the parents are not capable or either incarcerated, then they're taking care of their grandkids, which means they're burying these grandkids. So it's not like you're going to bury grandma. Grandma's actually burying her grandkids because of the racism in the world, because of the youth not taking it laying down, they're pushing back. And not just our racial color, but black and brown, because the brown is pushing back even harder because they're not taking it,
mm,
and their culture,
yeah.
the young people in their culture as well, are not taking it anymore. It's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing. It should be like, some kind of even playing ground that we should be able to be on, but you don't never know because like you say, it's my word against your word. I shot you because you did this or you did that, and you didn't do nothing. And the body cam showed that you didn't really do nothing. So it's a tragic
Hmm.
in our society today.
It's like, okay, looking at it from generation to generation, I'm talking about our people, right? I remember my parents and the grandparents did know how their reactions were to those people who were racist against us. Okay. And they were very, very hyper vigilant when it came to those people. They kept conversations to a minimum. They didn't associate with them. There was no parties with them. There was no social gatherings with them. If they dealt with them, it was work, it was business, and that was it. When it came down to my parents, My parents were also hypervigilant, but they were more lenient than the generation before them. When it came down to me and my siblings, we had white friends because of the schools that we went to were integrated. We had socialism with that race. And we didn't know because we weren't taught about racism from the young youth standpoint, or as a youth, should I say. Our parents didn't explain to us what racism was and why it was so important to understand that. Now, going forward from our generation to the next and the one after, further removed, you had more I'm sorry, interracial relationships and marriages that created more openness between races. But the problem still lies in there is a problem in overall society against people who look like me and Storm. Regardless if your father is white, regardless if your mother is white, there is still racism, systemic racism, and overall dislike for our people. The systems of control, and yes, I do mean control because that's exactly what it is. To control our thought processes are being increased with the diminishing of what we were learned or taught in school. They're erasing the history of racism and slavery so that we can forget where we came from, where our ancestors came from, so that we don't have anything to draw on concerning them. They made this about them. They're tired of us complaining about how the system is rigged against us. They're tired of us wanting what's rightfully ours. They're tired of us hearing us complain about reparations and fairness and justice. Well, if these things are still a problem today, century later, and you want to shove it under the rug just so you can feel comfortable, that's not really boding well for us survivors of childhood trauma, especially those of us who are of color. It's letting us see the writing on the wall, what's really there. See, to me, hypervigilance, what I guess professionals would call it, is an overreaction to things going on around us. But this hypervigilance is really having us on point with the things going on in society. And we're the ones that are actually looking at the situation and saying, okay, we can see the hypocrisy and the lies and the facade that they're putting up in the propaganda that they're trying to flood us with. We can see it because we know the pattern. We see the pattern. We've lived through the patterns. Now, the YN color, the youth, they don't understand all that. No one's been able to teach them this. And even if somebody was to teach them, they're lost because they don't understand the plight because it hasn't been explained to them. The only thing that matters to them is what's right in front of them right now. If it's not affecting me right now, if it's not affecting my square, my circle, my realm of existence, then it doesn't matter, period. That's how they think. It doesn't matter if somebody down the street, the police came and shot and killed them unwarranted. They'll say, oh, that's messed up. They might be mad at the police, but they won't do nothing about it. It's not affecting me, but that is affecting you. You just don't see it. Because if they did it to them yesterday, they could do it to you tomorrow. You just don't see it that way because it's not affecting you right now. Oops, sorry about that. I hit my mic. Well, Storm, do you have any last final comments?
No, no, I don't
Okay.
have any comments.
I see. Okay, that's cool. Is this a comment? Somebody put up a kind of linguist, motorcycling, whatever. Best viewers on streamblue.com. I have no idea what that is, but somebody sent that on Twitch. So obviously they
Okay.
were viewing our show on Twitch. We thank you for watching from
Yes.
Twitch.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Storm, do you or no?
You repeat the question because you broke up. Yes.
Okay. My question was, are you still on TikTok? You still do the TikTok platform?
I've been off of TikTok for a minute. I've been trying to reset, take care of some things, when you're under new management, at
Okay.
your real 8 to 5, then you kind of have to put some stuff on hold. But I look forward to going back on TikTok, and continuing everything between TikTok and
Okay.
Ectic. Hmm.
Okay. The reason I asked is because I was going to put your TikTok information on the screen so people could follow you. I'm going to do that anyway,
Okay.
just so people can know where to go if they want to follow your platform. They can head on over to TikTok at Diamanda. Don't forget the apostrophe. So you can go over to Diamanda on TikTok, and she does a lot of holistic teaching about herbs and healing substances. Also, she does some workouts too, so to help people with a low exercise regimen. It's pretty cool. Also, just a quick reminder about our our guest, Heather and Ferry.
Yes.
5th on Saturday, so you guys have a chance to come and watch that. She will be here to tell us about her work as a spiritual healer. She also has been an advocate for water, which is spiritual healing through water, also as far as environmental issues with water. So she's an awesome person, and she has a wonderful, wonderful demeanor, and her life has been very, very exciting to say the least. And I'm excited to have her on the show. I want you guys to be privy to that. Please come to the show, watch it. Right now, the first few guests that we have will be live on the show, so you guys can watch it because I don't want to deprive you of the platform and how we do the guests. But soon, you guys, soon it will all be under subscriptions. I don't want you guys to miss out. Please, please, please go over to buzzsprout.com, look up Terror Triumph, and subscribe. It's only $10 a month. And you will, excuse me, not miss out on these shows and these interviews and our specials and our series. We have stuff already on our subscribed material that you can't get anywhere else. So I don't want you guys to miss out. I know you guys want the information and it's crucial to you to have it. So please, please, please help yourself by subscribing. Okay. That's all I have to say for tonight. We're about to get out of here. My name is Alfonso Pelt. This has been Storm. And that's all the announcements for tonight. And we wish you well. Until Tuesday, we will see you again. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And remember, help is always closer than you think. Love you. Have a good